Good afternoon, and welcome to the 70th Annual Sports Awards Banquet. The Dearborn Recreation Commission is proud of our strong partnership organizations in both arts and athletics. For decades, these partnerships are what have made Dearborn a unique place to live. This afternoon, we will honor outstanding local athletes of the past and the present. Recreation in Dearborn has always set us apart from our neighboring cities and continues to do so today. I would like to congratulate all of the nominees and thank you for sharing your talents with us. It is now time for Commissioner Smith to recognize our honored guests present today.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce the dignitaries that are here today. From the City Council, we have Gary Enos and Ken Paris. From the Dearborn School Board, we have Jim Thorpe. And I understand we also have the Detroit Superintendent, Nikolai Vitti, here, whose daughter, I believe, is one of the award winners. It would be my pleasure to introduce the mayor in person. Unfortunately, because of a conflict, he could not be here today. However, we do have a video that he prepared for us, and roll the video, please.
I'd like to welcome one and all to the 70th Annual Sports Awards Ceremony. Though I couldn't be among you in person, I wanted to extend my gratitude to our honorees for continually striving to achieve excellence and making the Dearborn community proud. To the Hall of Fame inductees, new and old, and our Student Athletes of the Year, your commitment to your sport exemplifies this community's work ethic, its strength of character, and its desire to show up for the team and face down seemingly insurmountable odds. We find great pride in our city's athletic culture. This afternoon, we celebrate that culture and recognize the integral part sports play in fostering teamwork, collaboration, and leadership. And as the old saying goes, there's no I in team. Today's honorees embody that spirit. As a product of Dearborn schools and having participated in our excellent sports programs, Go Tractors, I was also molded by the same culture. To this day, I take with me those values and principles I learned on the field to office. And today, my office is committed to ensuring lasting investments in our recreational programs and facilities, as well as shared green spaces that encourage play in clean and healthy environments. I congratulate today's honorees and thank the Dearborn Parks and Recreation Department and the Commission for organizing this special event. Please enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
To present the Director's Award, we have the Director of Parks and Recreation, Sean Fletcher.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending today and recognizing the great individuals who have left their mark on this great community and the young athletes that represent the Dearborn community. At this time, it's my pleasure to announce the Director's Award, which is given each year to an individual for their support of the Parks and Recreation Department and for their commitment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. This year's nominee has consistently supported recreation in the Dearborn community and has demonstrated the traits consistent with previous winners. The leadership provided to his neighborhood and his willingness to provide honest and direct feedback to our department is greatly appreciated. We want to thank him for his continued support of our department, recreation programs, city park improvements, and the Dearborn community. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2023 Director's Award is Mr. Jamal El-Jami. Congratulations, Jamal.
Congrats.
It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce our first Hall of Fame awardee tonight, Pat Hamill. He obviously brought some friends. But just to give you a little more background, other than what's in the pamphlet, we have other things to recognize for Pat. Not only did he start in recreation programs in 1983, but he started before that as a high school athlete in parks and recreation programs leading up to high school, and also in the youth baseball programs the city sponsored, Class E, Class F, Class D, and it was my privilege to have coached him during this period of time. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you Pat Hamill. First, we will see a video of his nomination.
I nominated Pat because for about 5 decades he's represented what the Dearborn Recreation Department has looked for in a lifelong community member. Part of the swimming pools, and he was a junior leader. Obviously baseball, men's softball, and hockey. So through nearly 5 decades he represented himself in this recreation department very well.
Throughout the years Pat played sports in Dearborn, both his athletic abilities and his commitment to sportsmanship made him the kind of athlete everyone in the league respected.
He was a great guy to have on the team and made a ton of friends through the years. And that just shows by the number of teams he played for, not with his core group of high school friends, after college friends, work buddies, but he has played with pretty much everybody in the city for the last 30, 40 years, both in hockey and softball. He was picked up by teams after we played a doubleheader in the early games, and you'd see him, batting, playing left field with another team, guys he knew from around the city, and he really had a great time with it through a great number of years. We always like to say that he didn't know just a few members on any of the teams. He knew every member on every team, so he had a great social life, a great personality where a lot of people enjoyed his company and liked him and wanted to be a part of it.
Pat made unmistakable contributions to every team he played on and is a true example of what Dearborn Recreation Leagues are all about.
When this recreation was formed a long time ago, they had what Pat brought to them through all these years, what he represented as an athlete, as a friend, as a leader. I think he had a great experience, and that was what this recreation department set out to do.
Like to say a few words? Just step on up.
Thank you very much. Just still taking it all in. Thanks to my brother John Hamill. It still blows me away. Thanks, Johnny. I really appreciate it. But congrats to the nominees for the Van Patrick Award. I first became aware of the award, like Gene was saying, back in 1983 when some of my friends started winning it. Rick Wyka was one, and that was in '83. Just to tell you some of the guys that I was up against, Mike Betts, a quarterback that I played with, he was the Etzel Ford rep. The Divine Child rep was a guy named Pat Shermer. He's a pretty well-known guy, and he did win the Van Patrick that year. And it was just a tough thing. So to the nominees, I'm also well aware of the Van Patrick Award because I have 3 nephews that were nominated, and 2 of them were winners. In 2018, Will Morano won the Van Patrick. He was also a state champ wrestler at 160. Made the city proud. Also, my nephew Max Marion, he was nominated in 19. He didn't win, but we were very proud. And then last year, Joe Morano, Joe the Show, he's also a winner of the Van Patrick. Just a great kid, all great kids. All my nieces and nephews are here today, which is just amazing to me. And I have to start my speech about family. And the three things that come to mind about this award and the Recreation Department, with my 50 years of experience, which just blows me away too, is my great family, my friends, my friendships, and the work ethic that I learned from recreation, from guys like this. Gene Smith, a former coach of mine, but I'll get to him later. But first of all, about my family. Mom, we were talking, I don't know where to start with, but with recreation and my parents. My mom, we talked about going to Van Patrick's funeral when he died, and she's like, why do you want to go to Van Patrick's funeral? And because I thought I might run into Al Kaline, or, you know, Mom, it all started with you back in '68. She literally pulled me off my big wheel. I was 3 years old and told me to come in the house and watch this. Mickey Lolich on the mound, Tigers. I mean, I was hooked for life. '68 Tigers, couldn't get enough baseball. Just continued throughout my lifetime. And my dad, he's all about work, you know. I wish he would take more time to play. Anyone who knows my dad, he would rather talk about work than anything. And so with that, I can tell you this. Tomorrow, my dad's big on dates. Tomorrow's March 13th. I'll have 25 years at Ford Motor Company. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now my dad's even happier. Also, well, my sisters. I have 3 sisters, and with the Recreation Department, they were all lifeguards. So we lived right by Whitmore Bowls. So going back as far as I can remember, too, Mom and Dad just sent us off to the park, you know. But Lori was our leader, and she said it straight. I got to know all of her friends, her kids. They're here. I play ball with 2 of them now. And that just is so exciting to me. The camaraderie and the friends that I've made just through the Recreation Department. Family also includes all their husbands. I'm proud to say that I have 3 of the best brother-in-laws that a guy could ever have. I mean, starting with Michael Leary, Robbie Morano, Jason Marion. Those guys will do anything to help family, especially me, because I need the most help in that family. I appreciate that, you guys. It means a lot. Also, talk about my family. All their kids, just the ones that I mentioned, the ones that are here, Anthony, Anna Grace. Thank you. I appreciate it. Michael, my godson. Also, I have to talk about living on Campbell and some of the people that we met there. Some of the names of the people, the Agases, the McIntoshes, the Saltinis, the Jacksons, the Petries, the Blues, the Padelics, the Millers. There was always something going on Campbell Street, whether it be, you know, baseball in the street, strikeout at the house. Also, Mom and Dad, thanks for not killing me for spray painting a strikeout box right on their garage, you know. Where else can you do that? Dad, thanks. Also, I talked about work ethic, and through the Recreation Department, I started playing hockey. And the only way I could play for hockey was if I got a paper route. And for you kids that don't know what that is, look it up on Google. It's something that we used to actually go to a paper station, you know, pick up papers and deliver it. So we were the kings of the paper. It also led to a job opportunity for me. I worked for 12 years at the Detroit newspapers, and just a great career. I just wish that the cell phone never would have came around. Maybe papers would still be important and something you could take to the restroom. Some of the teams that I played for, just also goes with the camaraderie and the work ethic. The Adres, a great sponsor. The Dearborn piping contractor, Conrad Toporek. He also gave me a job. I worked there through tough times. Fall Sports Lounge, Gary Enos, Robbie Morano, Nick Morano. Thank you. You guys, they gave me whatever I wanted. And we also won the 96 city championship, so I'm really very proud of that. Also, some of the special coaches in my life, Jim Geist, Chase Road Pro Hardware, hockey coach. In Pee Wee's, I don't know if you guys remember the Dearborn bike shop, the Sullivans. They would sharpen our skates for free. That was huge when you were a kid. Mustache Lounge was my first hockey team, and a guy that got me skating was a guy named Dr. Watling. He saw me skating in my white figure skates, Three Sisters, and Frenchie was there. Dad took us to Ford Woods, and Dr. Watling told my dad, you should get that kid into hockey. So we thank Doc Watling for that. Also, I played for Norm Schultz, baseball, great coach. Tom Noland, Guy Del Judas, JV basketball. Our varsity coach who was here was John Krieger. Also, Mark Shushanian. What can I say about Mark? He's been nothing but a help to me and an asset. All I ever do is call him for favors, like the time that I was having a Crawley Fest. And those of you that remember the Crawley Fest, it was a big party in the park at Crawley Park where I lived. And he was right over there to get the cops out of there so we can have the party. Mark, thank you. Your cool and calm demeanor has always meant a lot to me, especially when I was yelling at Cass and Gene back in the day when softball was just, everything. In the 2000s, I played for guys Simons, and if you mentioned my name back in those days, you get $1 off your Long Island. So, also played for Mizzy and all those guys, Stick, Nate, Primetime, Neil, the Fay brothers. That's where I met Steve Norkunis. Now, in the 2020s, I played for Howell's Bar and Grill with Jack Rankin, Joe Hanlon, and they gave me the MVP last year, not for my play on the field, but for who I brought, my two nephews, Michael and Colin, who are studs. But
we need to wrap it up.
In wrapping it up, I just want to say thank you, Dearborn. Thank you to my parents. And it's been on family, friendships, camaraderie, and work ethic. And thank you for everyone that came, especially those members of the 96 team that are here today. Sean Day, Kenny Lucas, Killer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dearborn. And thank you, Gene Smith,
Step right over
my
there.
former coach.
In Parks Special Awards Hall of Fame was created to honor sponsors, officials, coaches, administrators, and other supporters of department-sponsored sports. This year, I have the privilege of introducing two new members. The first is Jeff Miller. The following video will explain why he was chosen.
I nominated Jeff because he has been sponsoring a softball team in the city, whether it be at Rotunda or the city of Dearborn, this will be the 31st season. And I just think that it's a well-deserved honor that he should have. Just very unique. A lot of other people, a lot of other teams have to pay to play. We don't. He loves the wise guys. The three things that he's most passionate about in life are his family, his politics, and his softball team. I think when he dies, he's going to be buried in his wise guy's uniform.
Jeff is a committed sponsor, but he's also a team player whose dedication to his group brings something special on the field and in the dugout. And there's one special trait that all of his teammates always recognize and appreciate.
Jeff's enthusiasm. He is the most excited player there is on the bench, always trying to fire us up, whether he's coaching first base, playing right field, or just in the dugout. He is just very, very enthusiastic. He loves his team and he loves to win.
His longevity as a sponsor has really made Jeff stand out to everyone in the league.
Jeff has made a difference. Everybody knows the Wise Guys. Everybody, the other teams know us. He has definitely made a difference in this city. He loves Dearborn. He grew up here. He just loves this city.
It is my great honor to present to you Jeff Miller as an inductee into the Special Awards Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming. I want to first thank the Sports Hall of Fame, the Recreation Department, and the City of Dearborn. I love Dearborn. It's been my home since 1968. I'm very grateful my parents moved here. I could have never imagined in a million years that I'd be standing here right now. When I moved into Dearborn in 1968, I moved into East Dearborn on a street called Kentucky, and it was like somewhere between the TV show Wonder Years and Sandlot without the dog. Hey, Mike, right field out at Wyoming and Diversey Park. When we'd play strikeout, like Mr. Hamill said, and we'd play wiffle ball, it started my love of the sport. And as I got through into junior high, I remember winning 9th grade. We won the championship of all the 9th graders at Laurie, go Polar Bears. And then when I got to Fortson, I really started a different direction in becoming an art major, but the most important thing about me being at Fortson is I met my wife-to-be. I love you, Leslie, and thank you very much for allowing me to have every Wednesday for the last 30 years to play softball. And I've spent so much money on the ball team. And I want to just say I love every guy that's ever been on the team. It's really touched my heart, and it's made something very special to me. So after I decided that I wanted to get married, I joined the military, and I ended up in the Old Guard in Washington, D.C. A lot of people would know it as maybe the Honor Guard. And within 1 week of me being married by Judge Bertel in the police department, or the judge's quarters, he came in literally from court, took off his robe, read it, shook my hand, and it was over in 60 seconds. But being a Dearborn guy, we went over to the Henry Ford Mansion, and we took all of our wedding photos over at the Henry Ford Mansion. And literally within a week of me arriving in Washington, D.C., I started playing softball. And that really was the start of my organized softball and my love of the sport. Like Mr. Hamill said, I still remember 1968 with the Tigers. 84 was a blast for the Tigers. But when the Wise Guys started for me in 1993, it really changed me, and I didn't even really realize that how hard it can be to be a manager or a coach. I have a memory of really in the first year, we won our first 2 out of the first 3 games, and then I ended the season 2-14. Not a really good year. And I do remember that we were playing at Crawley Park, and I didn't have enough players, and I was going up and down Oxford, knocking on total strangers' doors saying, "Do you know anybody who can play softball?" Because I was so desperate for players. But then, like 3 years later, I had 2 guys, Rich Weir and Chris St. Charles, who joined my team, and they were 5 or 6 years older than us. And they brought an intensity, a dignity, and almost like a professionalism that elevated my team. They started something that literally allowed me to have the confidence and the fun of being able to play for 30 years. And I've been the sponsor, coach, and player for 30 years of one team, the Wise Guys, and I love every one of you guys over there. I've had so many memories. I won the state championship for the 40 and over. Artie, you were my MVP, and you're still my MVP. I've won in the Army. I've won many leagues with many teams. I got to play at Rotunda, Softball City, Canton, Liberty Park, C.J. Barrymore's, and many of these places are gone now. There's no more places like they have anymore, and I'm going to miss Rotunda probably the most. Mr. Repos was a good friend of mine. I just want to thank everybody that ever had anything to do with me. Chris St. Charles was one of the guys that brought the tradition of grilling after every game, and that's like the signature of the Wise Guys, and we always invited everybody. Even if I beat you or you beat me, you were still going to come over and have a chicken sandwich or have a hamburger. So to end it, I love the city of Dearborn. It's been my home since 1968. Thank you, Mom, for moving us to Dearborn. And I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming, because Dearborn has been a very special place for me.
Don't forget your, don't forget your award.
I'm sorry.
Don't congratulations.
Okay.
The second inductee is Stephen Narkunis. It will become apparent by the video why he was selected.
Steve has been an umpire and player in Dearborn for close to almost 40 years. He started at a young age. A phenomenal umpire, well respected in the community by everybody. Over the last 20 years, we call him Big Game Steve. He's done a lot of big games, a lot of our Class A finals. I would say the last 15 years, 4 times by his peers, voted Umpire of the Year. On the field, as a player, he's played with numerous championship teams in the city of Dearborn and also with USSSA, been a champion, 40 and over. A couple years ago, was tournament MVP. But Steve's a phenomenal person, and this is well deserved for him. Very well respected by everybody in the softball community, and as an umpire and player, and this is very, very well deserved.
Through all of his years in Dearborn, Steve has proven to be an exceptional umpire and an even better teammate.
So Steve is the ultimate teammate, always encouraging. If somebody's struggling, going through a rough time, Steve will go out there, and there's numerous times where, you know, he's called a teammate early and they go hit to work their way out of a slump. But Steve is just the ultimate teammate, and you know, again, this is long overdue. He's just an outstanding individual that has meant a lot to a lot of people in the city of Dearborn, both as an umpire and as a player. And you know, I respect him immensely because as a coordinator of umpires, he's made my job easier so many times, because I can tell him, Steve, I never have to worry when he's on the diamond. Whatever games he has, I know they're going to be handled, and he's going to do a great job. It's been like that for over 40 years, and I can recall back when we were doing the B conference games at Rotunda Fields, he would always, the bigger the game, he would always step up and do a great job.
Again, it is my great honor to present to you Stephen Narkunis as an inductee into the Special Awards Hall of Fame.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Simon, for the great speech. Thank you to the Parks and Recreation Commission. I am honored and humbled to be nominated with the many greats in Dearborn. I'd like to give a special thank you to who, started out when I first started getting involved in softball, Jeff Conway and Jeff Del Judas. Also, I'd like to give a special thanks to Mike Shashanian and Johnny Golich and Ali Fawaz, who are doing great things with the City of Dearborn softball program today. I'd like to give special thanks to the managers who played for me. A few of them are in the USSSA Hall of Fame or the Dearborn Hall of Fame. Jerry Zimmers, Mr. Joe Smizzy, John Smizzy, Ayman Mustafa, who's in the USSSA and Dearborn Hall of Fame, and Chris Mizzy. I'd like to give special thanks to my sponsors. They are Mike Sod of Starters Lounge, Randy Lamphere of Randy's Bar, and also Paul McCula of McCula Chiropractor. I would love to give a special thanks to Mr. Bill Repos, who ran Rotunda Fields here in Dearborn, and also Ayman Mustafa, who started me out 35 years ago, either in the City of Dearborn or at Rotunda Fields. Also, I'd love to give two special shout-outs to Pat Zakara and Ayman Mustafa, who are two of my best friends. Pat and I battled over the years playing together and against each other. Thanks for supporting me and your friendship. Also, Ayman, I appreciate everything you have done for the City of Dearborn and for the umpires. You are a class act. Thanks, Pat and Ayman. You guys are like brothers. As I finally wrap this up, I'd like to give a special nomination congratulations to Mr. Pat Hamill and Jeff Miller. Congrats, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I think you can win some pictures here. I would now like to introduce Cade McLogan, who will present to the Sports Legend Hall of Fame inductees.
Hello, everyone. The Sports Legend Hall of Fame, created by the Dearborn Parks and Recreation Commission in 2000, is intended to honor Dearborn residents who distinguish themselves in sports beyond the level of the department's activities. Our two inductees this year are more than deserving, so I'd like to first roll our video for our first inductee, Patty Sabo Karsten.
The inductees for the Sports Legend Hall of Fame this year are both championship swimmers who got their start as young competitors here in Dearborn at a summer program at the Country Club. After excelling in the youth program, they both went on to be highly successful in high school, college, and beyond.
Yeah, Patty was also a state champion at Dearborn High. She was also state record holder at Dearborn High.
She then went on to college and continued her dominance.
Patty was an NCAA Division I champion, swam for the University of Texas, where they won multiple NCAA champions, probably the best collegiate swimming program, and still is.
Dedication to her sport was key to Patty's success in the pool.
Patty's greatest gift, her tremendous talent, was her ability to endure. She was very motivational in how hard she trained. And I witnessed it. I got to work with her a little bit. Patty looked at everybody as, I can work harder than that individual. And she is absolutely at the top. Patty was not only the best swimmer to come out of Dearborn, certainly one of the best swimmers in the entire country. And that's, a long time ago she swam, and it still holds true to today. She embraced and was the, identity of what you would expect comes out of a high caliber athlete, someone that is willing to do whatever it takes and then more. And this is not uncommon, clearly. So it is a huge, huge commitment, and she embraced every second of it.
To induct Miss Patty Sabo Karsten, so please come on up. I'll set this right here.
Lighting's not too good. Don't do it in spite of the fact you're from Dearborn. Do it because you're from Dearborn. Those are the words that my coach, Jack Dunworth, told me when I first started to break onto the national scene. At first, I didn't quite understand what he meant by that. being in my early teens, they sounded a little bit like the same thing. But when he explained it to me, I realized they were completely the opposite. In spite of means without being affected by the factor mentioned. But because of means as a result of. He was trying to tell me to not be intimidated by, not to be intimidated around swimmers from more prominent teams, and don't approach meets with a chip on my shoulder because I wasn't from a big famous swim team. Instead, hold my head high because I was from Dearborn, a city with its own strong swimming legacy and a city of which there is so much to be proud. My parents felt the same way. Active members of Dearborn Country Club, my dad an executive at Ford Motor Company, my mom worked there, even my sisters worked there. And a fun fact in my family is that in 1954, my mom was voted Mrs. Dearborn. So Jack, or as I called him until the end, Mr. Dunworth, was right. I was proud to be from Dearborn and represent it as best as I could. I worked harder to prove I was worthy and to know going into every race that I was more prepared than everybody else. I'd come a long way from the 5-year-old girl who went to swimming lessons in Bob Smoot's backyard pool and was deathly afraid of the water, so I would never put my face in. And I would scream bloody murder, and my family, especially my sisters, were so embarrassed they never wanted to come with me. Hi, Chris, that's my sister over there. Once I started competing, my family couldn't have been more supportive, and for their love, sacrifice, and cheers, I'm forever grateful. When I learned I was selected for this honor, it occurred to me last year that last year was the 50th anniversary of Title IX, which banned sex-based discrimination in schools or educational programs such as sports that receive federal funding. In 1972, approximately 300,000 women and girls competed in collegiate athletics and high school sports, and college scholarships for women practically didn't exist. In 2012, 40 years after the passage of Title IX, more than 3 million women were competing in high school and collegiate athletics. According to the Women's Sports Foundation, 2 in every 5 girls in the United States play sports. That number was 1 in 27 before Title IX. It's important to note that the expansion of women's opportunities doesn't mean a reduction of men's opportunities. About 26% more high school boys and 62% more college men are participating in sports. March is also Women's History Month, and March 8th, just a few days ago, was International Women's Day. I'm proud to be a woman who was a product of initiatives like Title IX. And did you know that 94% of women in the C-suite played sports growing up, and more than 52% played at the collegiate level? For women to achieve parity in the workforce, it's critical to ensure continued opportunities for girls and women in sports. One way to ensure continued opportunities for girls and women in sports and in the workforce is advocacy. Just as I'm proud to be from Dearborn, I'm also proud to be involved with ICONS, the Independent Council on Women's Sports. It's a network and advocacy group of current and former athletes and professional women athletes, their families and supporters. We're building a collective voice to promote and protect women's sports. Recently, we've seen the opportunities and protection for women and girls in sports eroding by allowing biological males on women's teams, discriminates against female athletes, and undermines the progress that Title IX has made. We support trans and non-conforming athletes, as we do all athletes, through an open division, and not to take away opportunities from girls and women in sports. The next generation of women and girls, sorry, thank you for clapping. the next generation of women and girls deserve the chance to be champions and to see an expanded and celebrated world of women's sports. We need a voice to defend the respect and fair treatment of our next generation, to protect them when training, when competing, and when in the locker room. Icons will be that voice. But back to Dearborn swimming, where it all began for me. The 1970s and 80s was truly a highlight in Dearborn swimming. Tom and Marty Zuba, Kevin, Shannon, and Drew Dunworth, Jeff Longstreth, Bob and John Lazar, Casey Felrath, and so many others. Common denominators include Jack Dunworth, Dearborn Country Club, Dearborn High School, and for many of us, the Dearborn Recreation Dolphins. Dearborn has a legacy of success, and I attribute much of that to Jack and Shannon Dunworth. Mr. Dunworth and later Shannon both coached me, and I am so grateful to them for helping make me the swimmer and person I became. I don't know if people realize how truly lucky they are to have Shannon at the helm of the Dearborn Dolphins. As a coach, he's won so many prestigious awards, led so many teams to titles and athletes to state titles, and developed countless swimmers, including my own niece. He is carrying on the great tradition of his dad. While I won many state titles and held multiple state records, I truly believe it was through Mr. Dunworth's connections that I was recruited by big-time schools. Kevin and Shannon both swam at Tennessee, so it was natural that Tennessee would come to recruit me. Drew swam at Auburn in Texas, and I don't think I'll ever forget the day that when I was contacted by Texas, the top program in the country. There were hundreds of other colleges too who recruited me, but from the start, Tennessee and Texas were the front runners. Then one day, the Tennessee coach told me, in a drawl that I won't try to do, "Patty, you can come here and be a big fish in a small pond, or you can go to Texas and be a small fish in a big pond." Something about that didn't sit right with me, and Mr. Dunworth helped me see I could go to Texas and be a big fish in a big pond because I was from Dearborn.
Our second inductee is another phenomenal swimmer, Mr. Tom Zuba. So I'd like to now roll his video.
After Tom's success in the youth swimming programs, he continued his standout career in high school.
Tom was going to Sacred Heart, and as a freshman, even though Sacred Heart didn't have a swimming team, they had Tom. So they created a swim team, and he participated and was a state champion in the 9th grade. At that time, Dearborn High was a very good swim team. My father happened to coach there with Jack Johnson and Jeff Longstreth as well. And so Tom came over to there, and then they dominated swimming in the state for the next 3 years. Tom never lost. One race, so he never lost at the state championship level. Tom set multiple state records. And then he moved on to the University of Michigan, where he swam there and was a national champion for the University of Michigan.
Tom's athletic abilities and drive to be the best helped him succeed wherever he swam.
Tom was a very gifted swimmer and tremendously accomplished. Tom won at every level he competed at, from the city level to the state level to the national level. Even on the international level, Tom competed as an international athlete for the United States. From the time Tom was in the 10th grade, it was the first time he was really kind of the key player on a team because he was the best, even though he was a 10th grader.
At practice and during meets, Tom did what it took to be number one.
Tommy looked at everybody as beatable because he was competitive. Clearly, just like any sport, you've got to be talented, you've got to have the right size, and you've got to have some skills, but that only gets you so far. And what made Tom the best, he was an unbelievably competitive individual. and he took no shortcuts.
It is now my honor to induct Tom into the Sports Legends Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I'm a highly sensitive guy, so if I have some tears tonight, forgive me. Patty, that was wonderful what you said. About Title IX, and also I would add to that the American Disabilities Act that helps so many handicapped people. It was a big change in this country. When I was a freshman at Michigan, I swam at the University of Michigan, and that year, the men's NCAAs were in Knoxville in Tennessee. We flew down first class, though I'm not first class, but we were treated great. The girls on our team at that time, women's swimming was the AIW, and our girls, they had a coach named Johanna Cook. She packed up the girls in a van and drove them to Idaho, and they swam in the AIW championships. So that's what kind of change has happened. I did want to tell you all a few things. I'm 68 now, so I can't read anymore. I wanted to thank the City of Dearborn and the Dearborn Recreation Department for this event and this honor, and for all of you attending. I want to tell you about my family, who were all involved in swimming. My three eldest in our family, Mary Jo, Richard, and Christine, learned to swim at Seashore. And then when we came along, my brothers and I, we all learned to swim at the Dearborn Country Club. My sisters swam at Sacred Heart. Before the public schools had girls swimming teams, they swam at Sacred Heart. My dad and another guy, Mr. Agnew, and a fellow named Aylmer Foss started the first girls team at Sacred Heart. And I think my dad and Mr. Agnew were paying him out of their pockets because, you know, Sacred Heart wasn't funded to manage the swim team. And I want to tell you about Sacred Heart, which was a wonderful place that I went to until the 9th grade. And the discipline, of course, I didn't know it at the time and I resented it, but the discipline and the honesty that Sacred Heart teaches you was, at that time, was when it was very active and had up high school, was just wonderful. And I would watch. I wanted to play football so bad. I was one of the bigger kids in the class, but my dad wouldn't let me because we had so much invested in swimming. And of course, I've known the Dunworths since I was about 7 years old. They would go down to Ford Field and watch Sacred Heart work out. And they would tell me later on, their dad, Mr. Dunworth, as I call him too, Patty, would come to me and go, "Have you ever seen how hard those kids from Sacred Heart work out on the football team?" I said, "Yeah, I know." And somehow that registered with me about team building, and the players have to be managing this, not the coaches. And that's what Sacred Heart had, and it helped me a lot when I went to Dearborn High. My brothers, my sisters, we swam for a club in Detroit called Patton Pool down on Verner near Dix by the Woodmere Cemetery. And it was a big club in Detroit at that time. It was the best swim club in the city, and really in the state. My sisters played water polo. They swam competitively. The coach used to have them swim in the Detroit River. My brothers and I, we won 17 individual state championships. My brother Richard won the 200 IM in 1965. My brother John won 5 state championships. I won 8, and our little brother Marty, who is now deceased, won 3. Marty, incidentally, was the second Van Patrick Award winner here in the city of Dearborn. He was an outstanding student in person, and unfortunately, he's deceased. Anyways, I want to tell you another story about a couple of families I'm going to mention that were really important in our life. And one of them was the Shirk family. And we swam competitively with them, and our parents would drive us down to Patton, down to Toledo, to Cleveland, wherever for swimming meets. And they had girls that swam, and their oldest son, Johnny, was recently the top 100 athletes at Fordson High School. And Johnny beat me my freshman year. He was a senior at Fordson. And he always still teases me about that today. But that was all great. And I want to tell you about somebody else who was a big, important family in our life, especially my little brother Marty. We're the Dunworth family, and they've been mentioned a lot. Jack was a great guy and a great coach, tougher than heck, could be. But he was one of those guys that he knew when you were down, he knew how to bring you up, and when you get a big head, look out. One look, one glance, and he would sober you up right away and put you in your place. And he was a great guy. When I went to Dearborn High, we knew we had a bunch of great swimmers coming over from Adams and Bryant. And Jeff came over, and the Dunworth boys were coming up, and we started a program there that went on for years, and Patty is part of that legacy, as well as many other swimmers that she mentioned. We won the state championship in 1971, kind of came out of nowhere, and beat our rivals, Ann Arbor Huron and Birmingham Groves. And then our senior year, we scored 225 points. We more than doubled the scores of the second and third place teams, Ann Arbor Pioneer and Ann Arbor Huron. And many people say that's the best team ever in the state of Michigan. I want to tell you also that my coach was really a guy named Jeff Longstreth. And this is, of course, ahead of Patty's time. I think Patty and I are about 10 years apart, 10 or 11 years apart. Jeff was my coach, and he coached me when I was 12 years old. And he trained me, and I went to Dearborn High, and we hooked about 12 or 13 guys that just fell in love with it, all the training, and there was a big culture change. And we had guys that wanted to be there and wanted to train, and that's how we ended up winning two state championships. I think the boys won 2 more. I know they won 2 more after that, and then the girls came along as that program developed. Those guys were really important in my life. I wouldn't be here today. Their names are, God, it's terrible getting old. Their names are Alan Gajewski, Brad Brockway, Terry Briest, Paul Spearman, David Bradshaw, Norman, Paul Foster, the Dunworth boys, Frank Sakara, and a guy named Doug Bell. And without them, I probably wouldn't be here, and I really share this honor with them. I also want to say that Jeff taught me 2 major lessons. He taught me many, but the 2 lessons that I'll remember for the rest of my life. In going into 10th grade, I qualified for the national championships. They were in Louisville, Kentucky, in the 400 individual medley. And I got to go down there with Jeff, who I loved, and he was a great guy. We were going to drive down. My parents were going to come down a few days later. Jeff wanted me to go down there and see how the whole thing's run and all the events. So he picks me up in my parents' garage, comes over in a car to take me down to Louisville, and we throw the bags in the back of the car, and he and I are driving, and I'm 15, and at the national championships in those days, there weren't a lot of guys that just finished 9th grade going into 10th that could qualify to do it, so this was a huge deal. So my mom came over after we threw the bags in the car to give me a kiss in the garage or a hug, and I kind of pushed her away and ignored it because I didn't think it was cool in front of Jeff. I got in the car, he had that finger out, all the way down Cherry Hill to Telegraph to wherever we jumped on 75 or wherever we got down there in those days. And he told me, you're done. I won't be, if you ever do that to your mother again, I won't coach you, I won't, you're done. Okay, Jeff, I won't. He taught me one other great lesson too, as we're coming through high school and college is approaching, they would have these big meets in Chicago at Portage Park and Cincinnati and Louisville, and so I was enamored with the swimming. I was going crazy. And we know that a bunch of guys that are former Olympians are going to be there, a fellow named Gary Hall and John Kinsella and all these guys. And I'm talking to Jeff like a little kid. I go, Jeff, I can't believe that Gary Hall's going to be there. And he lit me up. And he just said, would you stop thinking so much about those guys and think about how good you are? And forget about those guys. And it made a big change, and I did not look at them as idols anymore. I looked at them, I want to beat those guys. So, one last thing I wanted to thank, some other people I wanted to thank, were Shannon Dunworth and Nelson Steeper, who evidently wrote this up or submitted it. Nelson got the idea, and Shannon did the paperwork, and I got picked. Lastly, we started this legacy at Dearborn High, and we had these practices. They were really intense. Swimmers it's not like a football team or even a basketball team. We would get so mad at each other, and practices it was all about winning in practice. And sometimes things would happen, because you swim in a circle pattern in those pools. And some things would happen. We would get really angry at each other. And one year we went to swim Birmingham Groves out, and they had won 44 straight dual meets. And our goal that year, my junior year, was to beat them. And we had to shuffle the deck because they had so much depth. So I had to swim the 50 and the 100 free, and Paul Foster had to swim the 200 IM, and Kevin Dunworth had to swim the 400 free, all odd events for us. We get, it's Tuesday night, and Mr. Dunworth and Jeff are working with me trying to get me to sprint. I was not a sprinter, I was a middle distance and distance swimmer. And I got out of the pool crying, I went in the locker, and I'm, Mr. Dunworth, I can't do this, I can't get going, I can't turn over fast enough. We got to win these two events, or we can't beat Groves. He talked to me for about 5 minutes. I got up, I said, let's go right now. He just totally turned my mind around. But anyways, enough of that. Thank you all very much. Thank you, my family, for being here. And I love Dearborn.
We'll take a photo real quick. Okay.
Before we get started with the next part of the program, I'd like to take a moment and pay tribute to Commissioner Mickey Patrick. As a Recreation Commissioner with 30 years of service, Mickey was instrumental in creating the Sports Legends Hall of Fame, as well as the Van Patrick Outstanding High School Athlete Program Awards. In the greater community, Mickey was a driving force behind the Van Patrick Foundation for Cancer Research and established the Van Patrick Invitational Golf Tournament, a high-profile event that brought recognition to Dearborn for many years. Most importantly, he also quietly performed many good deeds and wanted no recognition for them. An all-around good guy, Mickey was a great advocate for recreation and sports programs in Dearborn. We put together the following video highlighting memories of Mickey's tenure on the Recreation Commission. Please roll the video.
Mickey Patrick was a longtime Dearborn resident, a valued member of the Dearborn Parks and Recreation Commission, and an avid supporter of recreation programs in Dearborn for decades.
I served for a number of years as the president of the commission, and he was extremely ready to volunteer for anything he was asked.
It really was an honor to serve with Mickey on the Recreation Commission. He had the best interests of the recreation participants in Dearborn, both children and adults, whether it was dealing with facilities, whether we had enough facilities and whether they were well maintained, or whether we were developing new facilities, for instance, the Dearborn Hills Golf Course that was opened during his tenure on the commission. These are examples of things that Mickey did to benefit the people of Dearborn.
Mickey was committed to continuing his family's legacy by ensuring that the Van Patrick Award remained a part of the Recreation Department's annual honors.
Mickey put a lot of his effort dealing with his father's legacy, which was the Athlete of the Year. And he would contact school administrators who would be the selectors of these volunteers, and then they would be interviewed by the commission itself. But Mickey did most of the legwork and most of the contacts and having the follow-up that was required for the project.
We were very proud as a commission to establish the Mickey Patrick Award for middle school students. At first, he didn't want it to interfere with his dad's beautiful award, but I think it's shown that him as a man of such humility and privacy that he wanted to make sure it didn't have a impact on his dad's, but it hasn't, and it stands in its own self as a special award for youngsters today.
Dearborn owes Mickey Patrick a great deal of gratitude for his years of volunteer service to the Recreation Department. And all of his accomplishments will continue to build his family's legacy.
Mickey was always a gentleman, and it was really an honor to serve with somebody who constantly evidenced his belief that the city of Dearborn residents deserved the best in recreation.
He treated everybody the same, and he remembered people and did things for people. That's the guy he was.
When Mickey spoke, everybody really listened and really took his feedback and his comments to heart because they knew that they were meaningful whenever he would speak. And I really enjoyed the little sidebar conversations we all got to have with him, and his wit and his humor. And you had to be on your A game to make sure you caught all of his little special comments and that. But it was always a pleasure to have a moment with him. And again, we're very proud. Dearborn's lost an incredible citizen, and his legacy and his impact will live on for sure.
And now I'd like to introduce Mickey's wife, Judy Patrick, who would like to say a few words.
I want to thank the Dearborn Recreation Commission for the beautiful tribute to Mickey Patrick. Mickey was a proud member of the Recreation Commission and helped to create the Van Patrick Award. Mickey was very honored a couple of years ago to have the commission create the Mickey Patrick Award that honors the city's outstanding middle school students. The student athletes being honored today have been selected by teachers, coaches, and administrators at each of the city's middle schools as their Middle School Athlete of the Year. Congratulations to all of you. You are exceptional.
Thank you, Judy. And Judy just gave us a nice overview of the Mickey Patrick Awards. So at this moment, I would like to introduce Commissioner Waleed Fadima, and Judy will stay on the stage and join him, and they will present the award winners for the Mickey Patrick Award. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Well, I'm happy and glad to be here with you tonight to beside Judy Patrick for the Mickey Patrick Award. I will call the names, and please, when you're coming up, she's gonna hand it, Ms. Patrick, the award to you, and we need you to stand over here for a minute before you go back to your seats. Well, Middle School Student Athlete of the Year, Medina Ferris, Bryant Middle School. Zoe Ryan, Diamond Child. Jenna Karali, Lori Middle School.
Congratulations.
Yasmin Musleh, Salina Intermediate School.
Congratulations.
Alexis Zilag, Smith Middle School. Sarah Jaward, Stout Middle School. Skylar Johnson, Eunice Middle School. Maya Lashkar, Woodworth Middle School.
Maya? I'm Skylar.
Okay.
Maya, congratulations.
Mahdi Kabani, Bryant Middle School. Jenkel Vitti, Divine Middle School, Divine Child. Adam Bender, Lori Middle School. Ahmed Salim, Salina Intermediate School.
Adam, congratulations.
Ahmed Shadid, Smith Middle School. Hadi Sufi, Stout Middle School.
Ahmad, congratulations.
Muhammad Al Mubarak, Eunice Middle School. Khalil Utaifa, Woodworth Middle School.
Congratulations.
Now we're going to take a picture for the students with Miss Patrick, and we need the boys behind the girls with the good lines, please.
Guys, wait a second. Just come closer.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
That's all we can do, right? Second row. Come right here. Come right up close. I want you to come so you can look right through here. No, you're fine. Okay, right there. Come right up. Come on.
Come.
Everybody.
Go close, go close.
Come on, as close as you can, okay? You're tall enough, I'm not worried about it. Come on. Go. Good, all right. Don't turn the lights down. That's nice. One more should do it. Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all the winners tonight. And now, before I leave, I have to introduce Rana Al-Husseini and Steve Gibbard and Judy Patrick for the Van Patrick Award. Thank you.
No, I wasn't. I don't have my notes.
No, you didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
You're just gonna work. Somebody gonna work.
Okay, we're gonna present the award.
Yeah.
I'm also honored to have the Van Patrick Award continued and appreciate his legacy with the Dearborn Commission.
Take over. I'll take over. Don't worry.
What?
I'll take over.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. I'm glad you guys can slightly see me over the podium. Need a stool or something. I'm not sure where Patty is in the stands, but as a current college athlete, I just want to thank you for being one of the women, obviously before me, who kind of paved the way for me. So wherever you are, I can't really see you. Thank you so much. Like, I was in the back, about to tear up. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Truly, it's an honor and a blessing to be standing up here, as I was once in the seats of the recipients. You know, my palms were sweaty, waiting for my name to be called, and now I am 4 years later, and just approaching it with a different perspective and a happy heart, and being able to present this to another young woman. So to start, the Van Patrick Award is a memorial award created in honor of Van Patrick, a Dearborn resident who was once an acclaimed radio and television personality who would broadcast college and professional sports from the late 1940s until his death from cancer in 1974. As I was told 4 years ago, this award is pretty much given to 2 student athletes who were the athletes of the year, both male and female. However, now that I've said that I've approached this with a different perspective, I feel like it's so much deeper than just an athletic award. The 8 seniors were nominated by their teachers and coaches for their academic and athletic achievements and their extracurricular activities and community involvement. What I'm trying to say is that this award targets pretty much who you are just as much as it does target who you are as an athlete. As athletes, we always identify ourselves with our sport, and for so long we do that at some point we forget who we are outside of the jersey. I've been playing college basketball for 4 years, and the one thing that this has taught me is how do I separate myself from who I am on the court from who I am off the court. We are all athletes, and the reality of the situation is that all of our abilities are able to be replaced. But the one thing that people can't take away is your impact. You know, we're always getting these awards, we're always chasing these statistics, but at the end of the day, they're just something else. Like, you could just put that on the shelf and they're just giving you another platform. But often we take these platforms and we just put them on our shelf and we never use them. But in today's world, people just want to feel seen. They just want to be heard and loved and acknowledged. They don't really care about the statistics or what you've done. At the end of the day, we all forget that. But the one thing people will never forget is how you made them feel. This is what separates you, and this is what makes you different. So as I stand up here today, I challenge everybody. We know if you're a student, if you're young, you're old, I challenge you to continue to touch people's lives. I challenge you to re-identify yourself with what you do and how you impact people versus your job title. Wake up every single morning and live for humanity and continue to remind people that there's good in the world. To the nominees, or as a matter of fact, everyone in this room, we're all winning at life. We have the power to change a life and never be forgotten each and every day. So take that and run with it every single day. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I'll go back to the scheduled program, my little spiel. But now if you can just look up at the screen, we're gonna present the 4 nominees through videos.
While attending Fordson, Jenna has played on the basketball, volleyball, and softball teams. Being an integral part of all these teams gave her coaches plenty of reasons to nominate her for the Van Patrick Award.
Well, first off, she is a great student. You know, she's a definition of a student athlete. I think that's important. That's something we preach here. And she does a great job being able to prioritize what's important to her. School is important to her. Her athletics are important to her. And then anything that's, anything that doesn't make sense to her, she doesn't, dedicate her time to. If it doesn't help her get better in sports, if it doesn't help her reach her goals academically, she's good at ignoring that stuff. She works extremely hard. She's not only a basketball player, but she's a multi-sport athlete. She works very hard. She's dedicated to her craft. She's someone that that is dependable. She's always going to be at practice. She's going to work hard for you, and she's also going to be someone that you can count on and be a team leader for you.
While Jenna's coaches know they can depend on her to lead by example, Jenna knows that she can count on her team to be a positive part of her life in return.
Honestly, it's just been a great experience overall, meeting different people. It's been such an honor. I have had many great teammates in the past, and I've grown many different relationships with them, some best friends, just close friends. It's kind of like a second family to me in a way, just bonding with different people, and it's great.
Jenna works hard on the court and in the classroom.
I take, of course, my academics like I prioritize my academics over sports. Of course, sports are an extracurricular, it's not mandatory. However, it's kind of something I enjoy personally. So when you have that interest, you kind of have to find a way to balance them, you know, sports before, and then you have to manage your time afterwards for practices, and you have to talk with your coach and see if you have, for example, any tests that you have to make up or anything like that. Then communication is a great way to balance out a lot of different things.
This athletics part created a sense of discipline for her, and what the sports, you know, we all know that sports does that. It allows you to prioritize what's important, disciplines you.
Keegan has played on the volleyball, soccer, and basketball teams at Edsel Ford, and has been very successful on all 3 teams.
It goes without saying, I mean, Keegan's a tremendous student. She's excelled in the classroom from day one, and she's excelled on the soccer field from day one. She takes every opportunity she can to lead by example on the field. She does whatever she can to motivate her teammates. Just the ideal student athlete in Dearborn.
So I've watched Keegan in volleyball, basketball, and soccer for the last, 4 years. And one thing that stands out is she is great teammate, very supportive of her teammates.
Throughout her high school athletic career, she has grown to really appreciate the relationships she builds participating in high school sports.
My favorite part about playing athletics here is the coaches. They're all so nice. Like, I love every coach I've had, especially this year, probably my favorite coaches. And I've made a lot of friends.
For everyone who plays on the field with Keegan or watches her from the sidelines, it's easy to see that she's committed to the game.
Keegan is not somebody who takes a day off or just kind of slacks through practice, and if that rubs off on the entire team, that's definitely going to lead to more success for our program.
Not only is Keegan a top-notch athlete, she's also a real role model to her teammates.
Throughout school, like freshman year, then to sophomore year to junior, I've just learned how to just manage my time. Like during school, during our tea times, I'll get all my homework done. And then just during classes, if I have free time, I'll just get all my homework done, so I have time to prioritize sports after school.
Keegan doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. I mean, she's not someone who's just barking and then not actually doing anything. She's motivating her teammates and at the same time motivating herself to just keep trying to reach her full potential. So the fact that she's always on top of that, the fact that she always knows that she needs to prove herself as well, it's really important and really beneficial to the whole team.
I nominated Sally because she's been a 3-year varsity player for basketball. I know she's also involved in other sports, including field hockey. And to me, she embodies what this Van Patrick Award is about. She's a great student, she's a great teammate, and she's a great athlete. So really, is an ideal high school student, somebody you would be extremely proud to have as your own daughter.
Not only does Sally really enjoy playing high school sports, she also finds great joy with her fellow teammates.
That's one of the things we really stress in our program is a team environment and a team dynamic where we know that we're only as good as the sum of the parts. And so she's one of the people that has really championed that and bought into it, and really is a rallying point for her teammates in a lot of ways. They respect her and they really like her and what she brings to the table for the team. So
Sally's teammates truly look up to her.
So I've been playing with the same girls for like multiple years. So over time we built like really close friendships, and I'd do anything for them now. Like they're my family now, and I feel like I can always have someone that has my back, and I can always talk to my teammates about stuff, and that's something really important to me.
Being a high school athlete has taught Sally so much.
It's definitely something I'd recommend to them. I'd say that if you always put in your best effort, you will get the results that you expect, and opportunities will come your way. So I just tell them not to like give up and stick with it, because even if times get hard, in the end it's like really fun and something that I like to reflect on, and I'm really proud of my accomplishments.
Cecilia played a key role on the basketball and lacrosse teams at Divine Child High School, and her commitment to both sports gave her coaches many reasons to nominate her for the Van Patrick Award.
She really encompasses a student athlete in every aspect. She's a great leader.
She's a great teammate, and she's a great athlete, so she has the whole package. She has the ability to look outside herself and put others before herself. She definitely epitomizes what a team player does, who a team player is, and she will do whatever it takes at all costs to help her team, whatever role that is.
She's a great student athlete. She's very resilient. She came, lacrosse is a new sport here at Divine Child, and it's newer kind of in the Midwest. So when she came to Divine Child, she'd never played before, and she's actually signed to play D1, which is our first D1 athlete for lacrosse, and it's really cool. So she'll be playing NCAA Division I lacrosse in college. You know, she's just a hard worker, and she is a great teammate and a great person all around.
Her dedication has earned her the respect of both coaches and teammates alike.
Through being on a team with them, I feel like I found my community, I found my group of friends that I wouldn't have found else if I wasn't in sports.
Playing high school sports has taught Cecilia a lot and allowed her to create lasting bonds with her teammates.
I think I've learned a lot through teammates and how we're all everyone on the team has a role, and we all work together to get our job done. And I feel like that's something that you learn through sports, and I feel like I've become a better leader and someone who's more friendly towards other people, getting to know them through athletics.
You guys are amazing. All of you, all four of you guys. So I'm just gonna call you guys up now. You guys can come up and we'll hand you guys your award. So we'll start with Jenna Abdullah from Fortson High School. She just gonna take a picture here and then walk. That's my girl. Congratulations. Together. Next, we have Keegan Gerlach from Edsel Ford. Sally Hamoud from Dearborn High. Congratulations. And last but not least, Cecilia Vitti. And for the males, now we'll have Steve Giebord, who will announce them.
They can go back down. They go back down, right? Yeah, you can go back to your seats. That's okay. Good job. Good afternoon, everyone. Here to announce the nominees for the male Van Patrick Memorial. The nominees. First off, I wanted to say with Rena's speech, that was fantastic. And getting the opportunity to interview all these finalists, parents have to be proud. Not just the accomplishments they made on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. They represent what this community is all about. So hats off to all the nominees. Congratulations to all the inductees in the Hall of Fame. And I also wanted to say a special congratulations to the parents. You've done a phenomenal job. These kids are the bright future for all of them. And with no further ado, let's take a look at the nominees for the male.
Hassan's such a great kid. He's does well in class. He's been a great athlete, great leader, always led by example, worked super hard, never had to ask him to work harder, never had a negative thing to say about any of his teammates, no matter what was going on, during football season, when things weren't going well, always positive and supportive of his teammates. And then during track, just literally super fast, but always goes full speed in practice. Love coaching those types of kids. During practice for track, even the fast kids, they get tired, they take some reps off, and he's always going full speed. And a lot of athletes, especially in track, it's tough to get them to go full speed in the beginning. They always want to save something for they know they're going to do 8 100s or something like that. He goes from the first one. He's going to put 100% into it, and he'll slow down by the last one, but he's still going to get a really good workout as a result of it.
Hassan's dedication was admired by his teammates, which is a big reason why they all look up to him.
The big thing is just the way he works and leads by example, I think, is a great attribute and obviously what you want in a captain.
So in both sports, becoming a leader is overall just learning, becoming more mature as you grow up and as you mature through the sports, learning how to take a loss, how to lead your team to not taking a loss too brutally and that kind of stuff. And that's what helped me become a leader here at Ford.
His on-field performance leads everyone to believe that he will continue to succeed throughout his life.
Oh, he's going to be very successful, Hassan, because he just never stops. He just works hard, he has goals, and he just keeps going after them no matter what it takes. And he's willing to put in the sweat and the tears and the blood and all that stuff to make those goals. So I have no doubt he's going to be successful.
Hassan has learned how to balance all of the demands of being a successful high school athlete.
So the definition that my coaches have always told me, with athletics in school, is you're a student athlete and student comes first. So maintain your grades, make sure they're high, make sure they're nothing to worry about so you can focus more on sports. And the more we have your focus on sports, the more you'll be ready to play and be at your best.
We nominated Steven because he's been a 4-year career player with us. Started towards the bottom of the lineup, has worked very hard throughout his 4 years here, and finalized that as a captain on the team, and made moves from starting at 3 doubles all the way up to finishing the last 2 years at 1 singles for us. He's got a great work ethic on and off the court, and is very respectful of his teammates, and just an all-around good athlete and student. So we felt like he deserved that.
He's a great team player. He's a great member of our team, and he's a valued member of our team. So I thought this would be a great nomination for Steven.
Steven's success on the basketball and tennis courts can be attributed to his dedication to those sports.
Just really his determination and his work ethic are probably the 2 biggest things. He's at the court every day, early, working on his game. He helps the other kids out with their game when they want to, ask questions or come to him for advice. He's there to help them. He also just works hard outside of normal practice hours. So weekends, even at nights after practice, he'll come back, maybe hit for another hour or so afterwards if he has extra time. He's just committed to his craft.
It's obvious to his coaches and fellow teammates that Steven always puts the team first.
He's approachable. I think that's the main thing when others struggle with the plays, and he's there to pick the guys up and to teach them, during school and to help them with their grades as well. So he's definitely a great member for our basketball team.
Steven has learned how to create a good school sports balance.
Yeah, it shows you discipline. You have to have good time management between school and all your sports. So you can't have any slacking off because you're not going to have time. You're going to be up till 2 a.m. if you have to practice and you decide to wait to do your homework till after. You just got to have really good time management.
We nominated Noah because he represents everything we strive for in the program. Easily the best athlete in the school, I would say in the city, and great teammate, takes accountability and just represents everything we want.
While at Dearborn High, Noah played football and ran track for all 4 years. And from day one, he has been a valuable asset to both teams.
Just being on the field, his presence makes a big difference. Just as far as making plays anytime we need him to in clutch moments. If teammates aren't doing well, he brings them up and so on like that.
Noah's years playing high school sports has taught him a lot and helped him build lasting friendships with his teammates.
I think I've learned how to respect my elders, respect my teammates, to be more teachable and coachable. So I feel like that'll benefit me throughout the rest of my football career. What I like is the relationships I build with coaches and players. You know, I'm around these people more than my family, so I feel like the bond we build is just so great, and I'll be talking to these guys for the rest of my life.
It's his dedication to these endeavors that has been a key to his success.
Yeah, so he would be the first one to practice, last one to leave, last one to leave after he gets extra work done after practice. He comes in the mornings, 6 a.m. practices, gets speed work done by himself, and even at night he would do that.
I want my team to succeed more than I want myself to succeed. Like, high school football has been one of the best times of my life. You know, the relationship I've grown, the fun I've had on the field, on the practice field, just spending time, and like, you'll get to love these people. You'll know them better than a lot of people in your life. They're like family. So I say trust the process, and you're gonna pay out in the end.
While attending Fordson High School, Muhammad played football and ran track. His dedication to both teams is why he was nominated for the Van Patrick Award.
He's a leader by example, which is always what you want in terms of having young men, especially on the football field. He's got great energy, never took days off, never made excuses. The kind of kid that you want to coach, you come to practice for, because he's going to bring it every single day. Bringing it, making sure that that he's holding the other guys up the high standard that he's got himself at it. All the things that he did in terms of, on the field during the games. It was refreshing to see him grow, especially from his sophomore year all the way up to his senior year. He broke his arm his sophomore year early, and he came back from that. I remember he was shattered, and he was better than ever. So that was the one thing that was good to see.
Muhammad learned so much playing high school sports, and he made it a priority to pass on those skills to his teammates.
Well, I think the thing with him is he's got such a good reputation, and it helps him in terms of what he's about and the people he's around. So it's like it's just like a cycle. You know what I mean? He's part of that legacy that he's left. Everybody knows who he is.
Yes. So I looked up to these guys like a big brother. They helped me with everything I had, and I took all those lessons that they gave me, and I tried to give them to the younger guys that were here this year. I just try to mimic everything they did, and try to do it in my own way.
His commitment to succeed and grow was always noticed by other players and his coaches.
Because he stuck it out, and he went all the way through, from his freshman year all the way to his senior year. The ups and downs, everything that he endured, he didn't quit. So that's a big part of it. And then with the track and field thing, he's just as dedicated. He's going to be dedicated this year, even though he's a senior. He's really got nothing to work for. He's going to join the team, and he's going to make sure that he does the best he can in order to give his school and his team one last kind of hurrah on his way out.
At this time, I'd like to invite up the nominees. First, from Etzel Ford High School, Hassan Abu Hassan. From Divine Child, Stephen Balash. From Dearborn High, Noah Dobert. And from Fortson, Mohammed Trablusli. Round of applause for the finalists, male finalists. At this time, I'd like to bring Rena back up to, you go ahead, you guys sit down, to announce the female winner.
Thank you. So the 2023 Van Patrick Memorial Award goes to Cecilia Vitti.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And Steve will come back out and announce for the boys.
All right. Again, it was a very difficult choice. Outstanding candidates, both for male and female. So again, congratulations to everybody. The male winner for the 2023 Van Patrick Memorial Award goes to Noah Dobert. I'd like to remind the winners to stick around after the conclusion of the event so we can take additional pictures for all the nominees and the winners. At this time, I'd like to bring up Commissioner Joseph Siciliano for closing remarks.
Before this program concludes, I want to take this opportunity to express on behalf of the Mayor and the Dearborn Recreation and Parks Commission in association with the Dearborn Recreation and Parks Department, a sincere thank you to the staff of the Dearborn Recreation and Parks Department, and especially John Golich, Ali Fawaz, and John Kerr, as well as fellow commissioners Rami Abusala and Sarah Platts for all of their hard work and efforts in putting this special event together. We also want to acknowledge and thank CDTV, and especially Patty Johnson-Morier for the production of the videos we viewed this afternoon. And we wish to express our gratitude to all of the individuals, companies, and organizations who placed ads in the program booklet for their support. We want to express our deepest condolences to Judy Patrick and the entire Mickey Patrick family for their loss. Mickey Patrick was a great man who will be sorely missed. To the Mickey Patrick Award recipients and all the Van Patrick nominees and award winners, your accomplishments in the classroom and on the athletic fields have earned you the illustrious honor of being declared the best student athletes in Dearborn for 2023. You should be extremely proud of what you've achieved at such an early age. We hope and expect this marks the beginning of a bright future for all of you. To all of the Hall of Fame inductees, your exceptional talents and successes have gained you permanent accommodation in the annals of Dearborn history for everyone to see and admire. Your selection is merited and worthy of recognition. Let's give another round of applause to all these honorees. Being a lifelong Dearborn resident, I've always been proud to say that I live in a city where government officials and residents alike place such great importance on having quality sports programs and recreational facilities available for the entire community to participate in and enjoy. It is fitting that we have an annual sports award ceremony to pay tribute to those individuals who took advantage of what our city has provided for decades to showcase their unique talents and gain the special recognition they are rightfully entitled. I am to ask that all of the Van Patrick Award winners and Hall of Fame inductees to please come back to the stage for pictures. And I'm also to remind everyone that there is going to be a reception immediately following on the mezzanine level in the theater lobby where light food and refreshments will be available, which we hope we all can attend. Thank you for coming, and good night.